Marcus Chen pushed his mop across the shiny floor of the VIP docking bay. It was 3 in the morning, and the Terran diplomatic spaceport was quiet. This was his favorite time to work. No crowds of aliens looking down at him, no fancy diplomats treating him like he was invisible. Just Marcus, his mop, and the soft hum of the station's life support systems. He glanced toward the supply closet where his daughter Emma was sleeping on a pile of clean blankets. 7 years old and already spending nights at the spaceport because he couldn't afford a babysitter. Marcus's chest tightened. This wasn't the life he'd wanted for her. Before the aliens came, before his wife died in the chaos of first contact, he'd had a real job, a real home. Now he was just a janitor, barely making enough to keep them fed. The floor trembled beneath his feet. Marcus looked up, frowning. The station wasn't supposed to shake. Then he heard it, a screaming sound, like metal tearing apart. The bay doors exploded inward in a shower of sparks and twisted steel. A small spacecraft tumbled through the opening, scraping across the floor before slamming into the far wall. Alarms started blaring. Red emergency lights painted everything in blood colors. "Emma, stay in the closet!" Marcus shouted, dropping his mop and running toward the crashed ship. He shouldn't get involved. Every instinct told him to grab Emma and run. But what if someone was hurt? What if they needed help? The ship's side hatch hissed and fell open. Smoke poured out. A figure stumbled through it, tall and wrapped in a torn cloak. The figure collapsed onto the floor, and the cloak fell away. Marcus stopped breathing. She was beautiful in a way that didn't seem real. Her skin was pale blue, covered in silver markings that glowed faintly. She had 4 arms, 2 clutching her bleeding side, 2 reaching out for support. Her eyes were huge and golden, with no whites at all. Long white hair fell around her shoulders. "You," she gasped, looking straight at Marcus. "Human." Yes?" Marcus stammered. He'd never spoken to an alien before. They never noticed janitors. She tried to stand but fell forward. Marcus caught her without thinking. She was heavy, her muscles dense under her strange skin. Up close, he could see she wore armor made of some material that shifted colors. Most of it was dented and scorched. "Listen carefully," she said, her voice urgent. "I am Princess Zathari of the Velkarian Empire. I am fleeing an arranged marriage to Warlord Krasden. He will kill me if he catches me. Station security has been bribed. They will be here in moments." Marcus's brain tried to process this. A princess, running from a warlord, corrupted security. This sounded like something from the shows Emma watched, not his real life. "I need your help," Zathari continued. Blood was running between her fingers. "There is a law. Marriages between species cannot be broken unless both agree. You understand?" What?" Zathari grabbed his shirt with surprising strength. "You, human. Act like you're my spouse, now." Marcus stared at her. "I'm sorry, what?" "Your species is unpredictable, stubborn. Everyone knows this. If I claim I married a human, they must believe it because who would lie about something so absurd? Lady, I clean toilets for a living. Nobody's going to believe you married me." "Exactly. It is too ridiculous to be false. You must—" Zathari's eyes rolled back. She went limp in Marcus's arms. "Daddy?" A small voice came from the supply closet. Emma peered out, her eyes wide. She was clutching her stuffed rabbit. "Is that a real princess?" Before Marcus could answer, he heard boots pounding on metal. Security was coming. His mind raced. If Zathari was telling the truth about corrupted guards, they'd take her, maybe kill her. Could he let that happen? Could he just walk away from someone who needed help? He thought of his wife. She'd been a first responder, one of the humans who'd tried to help during the chaos when aliens first arrived. She'd died saving people she didn't know. Would she want him to walk away now? "Emma, help me!" Marcus said. Together, they dragged Zathari toward the maintenance tunnels. Marcus knew every tunnel in this station. He'd been cleaning them for 3 years. The entrance was hidden behind a fake wall panel that most people didn't know existed. They'd just gotten the princess inside when security burst into the bay. Marcus grabbed his mop and walked out, trying to look calm. "You!" A guard pointed at him. The alien looked like a giant insect, all hard shell and too many eyes. "What happened here?" Marcus scratched his head, playing dumb. "Don't know, sir. I was cleaning over by the other side. Heard a big crash. Came to look. Found this mess." He gestured at the destroyed bay doors. "Did you see anyone? Anything?" "Just smoke and broken stuff, sir. I'm just a janitor." "Don't see much of anything usually." The guard stared at him for a long moment. Marcus kept his face blank. After 3 years of being treated like furniture, he'd gotten good at looking like he didn't matter. "Fine," the guard finally said. "Get this mess cleaned up, and get out of here. This area is now restricted." "Yes, sir." "Right away, sir." Marcus waited until the guards moved toward the crashed ship. Then he grabbed Emma's hand and slipped away. His heart was pounding so hard he thought it might explode. Inside the maintenance tunnel, Emma was using a first aid kit to wrap bandages around Zathari's wounds. The princess was unconscious but breathing. Her blood was darker than human blood, almost purple. "Is she going to be okay, Daddy?" Emma whispered. "I don't know, baby girl." "She's pretty." Like in my storybooks. Marcus looked at the alien princess lying on the dirty tunnel floor. What had he just done? He'd lied to security, hidden someone they were looking for. He could lose his job. Worse, they could arrest him, take Emma away. Zathari's eyes fluttered open. She focused on Marcus with difficulty. "You helped me." "Why?" Marcus didn't have a good answer. Seemed like the right thing to do. "The right thing," she repeated, like the words were foreign. "You do not even know me." "You needed help. That's enough." Zathari stared at him for a long moment. Then she looked at Emma, who was carefully tucking a blanket around her. "Is this your offspring?" "My daughter, Emma." "Hello, princess," Emma said shyly. "I always wanted to meet a real princess." Something changed in Zathari's golden eyes. Some of the hardness softened. "Hello, small one." Marcus heard voices in the bay outside. More security arriving. They'd search everywhere eventually. He needed a plan. Somewhere to hide her. But where could you hide an alien princess on a space station? Then he remembered his apartment. Tiny. Cramped. In the human quarters where no alien ever went because they considered it beneath them. It might just work. "Can you walk?" he asked Zathari. I think so." "Good. Because we need to get you somewhere safe. And then you're going to explain this whole spouse thing again. Slowly. Because I think you just turned my life completely upside down." Zathari managed a weak smile. "Welcome to my world, Janitor." Emma took the princess's hand. "Don't worry. My daddy is really good at fixing things. He'll fix this too." Marcus hoped his daughter was right, because he had a feeling fixing this particular mess was going to take more than a mop and some cleaning supplies. Marcus's apartment was barely big enough for 2 people, let alone 3. One room served as bedroom, living room, and kitchen. The bathroom was so small you had to step outside to change your mind, as his grandfather used to say. When Zathari walked in, still weak from her injuries, she looked around with something close to horror on her blue face. "This is where you live?" she asked. "Home sweet home," Marcus said, trying not to feel embarrassed. "Emma, get the first aid kit. The real one, not the toy." He helped Zathari sit on his bed, the only real furniture besides 2 folding chairs and a table he'd found in the station's recycling center. Through the thin walls, he could hear their neighbors. Old Mr. Washington's television. The Rodriguez family's baby crying. Normal sounds. His life before tonight had been normal, simple. Now he had an alien princess bleeding on his bed. Emma returned with the medical kit. Marcus had learned basic first aid when his wife was alive. She'd insisted everyone should know how to help people. He cleaned Zathari's wounds as gently as he could. Her skin felt strange under his hands, cooler than human skin and somehow both soft and tough at the same time. "Your dwelling is very small," Zathari said, watching him work. "Yeah, well, janitorial work doesn't pay much, especially when you're human. We're at the bottom of the employment ladder. This seems unfair." Marcus laughed, but there was no humor in it. "Welcome to being human in the Galactic Coalition. We're the new kids, the primitives. Most aliens think we're barely smart enough to clean their messes." He finished bandaging her side. The bleeding had stopped, at least. "You should rest. Tomorrow we figure out what to do next." "Tomorrow Warlord Krasden's forces will arrive looking for me," Zathari said. "If I am found, I will be forced to marry him. He is cruel, brutal. He wants my family's throne and the military power it commands. Many will die if he succeeds." Emma climbed onto the bed next to Zathari. "Then you can't let him find you." "It is not that simple, small one." "Emma," Marcus corrected gently. "Her name is Emma." "Emma," Zathari repeated, trying out the word. "It is not simple because Krasden has legal claim on me. Our families arranged the marriage. Unless I can prove I am already married to someone else, I have no choice." Marcus sat in one of the folding chairs. "And you want to use me? Claim we're married?" "Yes." "Nobody will believe it." "That is what makes it perfect," Zathari said, leaning forward despite her pain. "Listen, my people value strength, power, noble bloodlines. You are—" She hesitated. "A nobody," Marcus finished for her. "A janitor, a single dad barely scraping by." "I was going to say unexpected. No one would believe I would choose you unless it was real. The very absurdity of it makes it believable." "Gee, thanks." "I did not mean—" Zathari stopped, looking frustrated. "I am explaining this poorly. What I mean is, if I claimed to marry another prince or warrior, everyone would assume it was a political ploy. But you gain nothing from this. You risk everything, therefore it must be genuine." Marcus thought about this. His mind was tired, his body exhausted, but he could see the logic. It was crazy, completely insane, but it might work. "What do I get out of this?" he asked. Zathari blinked her golden eyes. "I had not considered you would want payment. I have a daughter to think about. If I do this, if I help you, I'm risking our lives, our safety. I need to know Emma will be okay." For a long moment, Zathari just stared at him. Then she nodded slowly. "You are wise to think of your offspring first. If you help me, I can offer protection, money, a better life than this." She gestured at the small apartment. "I always wanted a mom," Emma said quietly. She was playing with Zathari's long white hair, braiding it clumsily. "Daddy tries really hard, but he can't do girl stuff. He doesn't know how to braid hair or paint nails or anything." Marcus felt his heart crack a little. "Emma, it's okay, Daddy. I know you try. You try so hard." Emma looked up at Zathari with hopeful eyes. "Would you be my mom, even if it's pretend?" Zathari looked completely lost. This warrior princess who'd fled across the galaxy seemed more frightened of one small girl than she'd been of armed guards. "I do not know how to be a mother. That's okay. You can learn. Right, Daddy?" Marcus sighed. When had he lost control of this situation? "Right, baby girl." He stood up and walked to the window. Outside, he could see Earth hanging in the black sky. Home, beautiful and blue and so far away. Most humans still lived there, Only a few thousand worked on the station, doing the jobs aliens didn't want to do. "If we're going to do this," he said, not turning around, "we do it my way. I know this station. I know systems nobody pays attention to, but you have to trust me. Can you do that? Trust a primitive human janitor?" "You saved my life when you had every reason to walk away," Zathari said. "You risked yourself for a stranger. That is not primitive. That is honorable." Marcus turned to look at her. "Okay then, here's the plan. I can access the station's administrative systems. Nobody watches the janitor when he's cleaning the admin offices. I've seen them type in passwords 1,000 times. I can create a marriage certificate, backdate it to tonight. Is that not illegal?" "Completely. But so is hiding you. I'm already in trouble if we get caught. Might as well go all in." He started pacing, his mind working through the details. "We'll move you here. Nobody comes to the human quarters. You're beneath their notice, same as us. We make you look human, or human enough. We create a story about how we met." "This will never work," Zathari said, but she sounded less certain than before. "It has to work, because the alternative is you go back to that warlord, and I don't think Emma would forgive me for letting that happen." Emma hugged Zathari's arm. "Please stay. Please be safe." Zathari looked at the small human child clinging to her. Something in her expression softened. "Very well. I will trust you, Marcus Chen. Do not make me regret this." "I'll try not to." The next morning, Marcus called in sick to work for the first time in 3 years. He spent the day forging documents. It was easier than he'd expected. The station's systems were designed by aliens who never imagined a janitor would be smart enough to hack them. They underestimated humans. That was their mistake. By evening, he had a perfect marriage certificate. Marcus Chen and Zathari Velkarian, married 3 months ago in a private human ceremony. He'd even created false witnesses and a fake officiant. The hard part was teaching Zathari to act normal. "You cannot walk like that," Marcus said, watching her move around the apartment. "You're prowling like a predator. Humans don't move like that. Slouch a little. Look tired. We're always tired. This is ridiculous. This is survival. Here, put these on." He handed her some of his clothes. Cargo pants, a hoodie, worn sneakers. Zathari looked at the clothes like they were diseased. "These are peasant garments. These are human clothes. You're human now, or pretending to be. So put them on." She changed in the bathroom. When she came out, Marcus had to bite his lip to keep from laughing. The princess of the Velkarian Empire looked absolutely ridiculous in baggy cargo pants and an oversized hoodie. But she also looked less alien, more approachable. "How do I look?" she asked stiffly. "Like you're about to murder someone," Emma said helpfully. "You need to smile more, Mom." Mom. Zathari flinched at the word but didn't correct Emma. "Try to relax," Marcus said. "Just be normal." "I am a princess. I do not be normal." "Well, learn fast, because tomorrow you're going to do normal human things. Laundry, dishes, helping Emma with homework. The more normal you act, the more believable this is." Zathari looked mutinous, but nodded. That night, Marcus gave Zathari his bed and slept on the floor with Emma curled up beside him. He lay awake for hours, staring at the ceiling, wondering what he'd gotten them into, wondering if this crazy plan could possibly work. Above him, he heard Zathari whisper, "Thank you, Marcus Chen. I will not forget this kindness." "Don't thank me yet," he murmured back. "We haven't even gotten to the hard part." But as he finally drifted off to sleep, Emma's hand in his, he realized something. For the first time in 3 years since his wife died, he felt like he was doing something that mattered, something bigger than just surviving. Maybe that was worth the risk. Maybe... The news broke 2 days later. Princess Zathari of the Velkarian Empire had vanished. Warlord Kraz, then, was offering a reward that could buy a small planet. The Velkarian military was mobilizing warships. The entire galaxy was watching. Marcus watched the news broadcasts while mopping the corridors. Every screen showed the same image of Zathari in her full royal armor, looking powerful and dangerous. Nothing like the woman currently hiding in his apartment wearing his old sweatpants and teaching Emma about distant stars. "You see the princess?" one of the other janitors asked him. A human named David who worked the day shift. "Yeah," Marcus said, keeping his voice neutral. "Pretty alien lady. Wonder what happened to her." "Probably ran off with some fancy prince. That's what they do, right? Rich people problems." "Probably," Marcus agreed, pushing his mop. But things got worse. Kraz then himself arrived at the station with his enforcers. Marcus saw them from a distance, massive armored figures that made even other aliens nervous. They were interrogating everyone, tearing through every ship that tried to leave, searching every corner of the station, everyone except the human quarters. The warlord's forces didn't even glance at the cramped corridors where humans lived. Marcus had counted on that. Aliens thought humans were beneath notice. It was insulting. It was also saving their lives. At home, Zathari was going crazy from staying inside. She paced the small apartment like a caged animal. Her wounds were healing with alarming speed, something about Velkarian biology Marcus didn't understand. She kept checking the door, her forearms twitching like she wanted to fight something. "You need to relax," Marcus said, coming home from his shift exhausted. "I am a warrior. Warriors do not hide. Warriors who want to live sometimes do." Emma was sitting at their small table, doing homework. Zathari had been helping her with math, explaining concepts in ways Emma's teacher never had. The girl's grades were actually improving. That made Marcus smile, despite everything. "Tell me about your mate," Zathari said suddenly. "Emma's mother." Marcus froze. He didn't like talking about Sarah. It hurt too much. "You don't have to, Daddy," Emma said quietly, not looking up from her work. But maybe it was time. Maybe Zathari deserved to know. "Her name was Sarah," Marcus began, sitting down heavily. "She was a first responder, paramedic. When the aliens first came, it was chaos. Some people were scared. Some got hurt in the panic. Sarah was out there helping anyone who needed it. Didn't matter if they were human or alien. She just saw people who needed help." "She sounds honorable," Zathari said. She was. There was an accident. An alien transport crashed near a human city. Fuel leak. Sarah and her team were trying to evacuate everyone. The transport exploded. Marcus's throat tightened. She saved 6 aliens that day. None of them even thanked her family at the funeral. Zathari was quiet for a long time. "I understand now." "Understand what?" "Why you helped me. You are like her. You see someone who needs help and you act, even when it is dangerous, even when there is no reward." "I'm nothing like her. She was brave. I'm just scared all the time." "Bravery is not the absence of fear," Zathari said. "It is acting despite it. Your mate would be proud of you, of what you are doing for Emma, for me." Marcus felt something warm in his chest. Maybe she was right. Maybe Sarah would understand. The peaceful moment shattered when Marcus's work tablet beeped. Emergency message. All staff report to security for questioning. No exceptions. "They know something," Marcus said, his blood running cold. Zathari stood up immediately. "You cannot go. They will arrest you." "If I don't go, they'll come looking for me. That's worse." He looked at Emma. "Baby girl, remember what we practiced? If something happens?" Emma nodded, trying to be brave. "Hide in the air vent. Stay quiet. Don't come out until you or Mom says the code word." "Good girl." He hugged her tight, then looked at Zathari. "If I'm not back in 2 hours, take Emma and run. There's a cargo ship leaving at midnight. Captain named Torres. Tell him Marcus sent you. He owes me a favor. I will not leave you. You will if it means keeping Emma safe. Promise me. Zathari's golden eyes met his. Finally, she nodded. I promise. The interrogation room was cold and gray. Marcus sat across from Krazathen's second-in-command, a scarred alien warrior who looked like he enjoyed hurting people. You are Marcus Chen, Janitor, the warrior said, looking at a data screen. Yes, sir. You were working the night the princess's ship crashed. Yes, sir. Heard a loud noise. Went to investigate. Found a mess. Cleaned it up. You saw nothing else? Just broken stuff, sir. Smoke. I'm just a janitor. I don't pay much attention to important things. The warrior leaned forward. We have sensor logs. They show a life sign moving from the bay to the maintenance tunnels. Then the signal disappeared. Marcus's heart was pounding, but he kept his face blank. Don't know about that, sir. Maybe your sensors made a mistake. Human tech isn't great. Maybe it glitched. Perhaps. The warrior's eyes narrowed. Tell me about your family. My daughter, Emma. She's 7. Just the 2 of us. No mate? She died 3 years ago. Ah, so you are alone, struggling. Such people sometimes make poor decisions for money. Marcus understood the implication. I haven't seen the princess, if that's what you're asking. Wish I had. That reward could change our lives. But I'm just a janitor who cleans floors and tries to take care of his kid. The interrogation went on for an hour. The warrior asked the same questions different ways. Marcus gave the same answers, playing the role of the simple janitor who didn't know anything. Finally, they let him go. He was walking back to his quarters when he heard shouting. Marcus started running. He knew that voice. Emma. He burst through his apartment door to find chaos. 3 of Krazathen's enforcers were there. Zathari was standing in front of Emma, all 4 arms spread in protection. She wasn't wearing her disguise. Her blue skin and silver markings were clearly visible. But what shocked Marcus most was the rage on her face. Get away from my daughter, Zathari snarled. One of the enforcers laughed. Your daughter? Princess, this game is over. Come quietly or... I said, get away from her. Zathari's voice echoed with command. The enforcer reached for Emma. Zathari moved like lightning, her warrior training obvious. She struck the enforcer with 2 fists, sending him crashing into the wall. The other 2 drew weapons. Stop! Marcus shouted, stepping between them. What is going on here? This does not concern you, human, one enforcer said. This is my home, my family. It concerns me plenty. Your family? The enforcer looked confused. Then he saw Marcus's work tablet on the table, still displaying his personnel file, including his marital status, recently updated to married. The enforcer grabbed the tablet, reading. His expression changed from confusion to shock to anger. You married her? 3 months ago, Marcus said, his voice steady despite his terror. Private ceremony, human tradition, it's all legal. Check the records. This is impossible. The princess would never... Never what? Zathari demanded. Never choose a man who treats me with kindness, who asks nothing in return. Who would stand between me and armed warriors to protect what he loves? She moved to Marcus's side, taking his hand. I chose Marcus Chen because he is more worthy than any noble I have ever met. The enforcers looked at each other, uncertain. This wasn't what they'd expected. Warlord Krazathen will not accept this, one finally said. Warlord Krazathen does not have a choice, Zathari replied coldly. Galactic law is clear. A marriage between species cannot be dissolved without both parties agreeing. I do not agree. Neither does my spouse. Therefore, the marriage stands. We shall see what the courts say about this farce. Yes, Zathari agreed. We shall. The enforcers left, but Marcus knew this wasn't over. Emma ran to him, and he scooped her up, holding her tight. Zathari still held his other hand. For a moment, they stood there like a real family. They will demand a formal hearing, Zathari said quietly, before the Galactic Court. We will have to prove the marriage is legitimate. Then we prove it, Marcus said. Whatever it takes. Zathari looked at him, something like wonder in her golden eyes. You continue to surprise me, Marcus Chen. Most beings would run from this fight. Yeah, well, I'm human. We're too stupid to know when we're beat. Not stupid, Zathari said softly. Brave. Emma hugged them both. We're a family now. Families don't give up. Marcus hoped his daughter was right, because the real fight was just beginning. The Galactic Court was the most impressive thing Marcus had ever seen. The chamber was massive, with floating platforms for judges representing 20 different species. Crowds filled the observation areas. This wasn't just about one princess anymore. This was about whether a primitive human could legally marry into one of the galaxy's most powerful families. Marcus wore the only suit he owned, bought used for his wife's funeral. Emma sat beside him in her best dress, holding his hand tightly. On his other side, Zathari sat in formal Velkarian robes, looking every inch the princess she was. But she kept one hand touching his arm, a small gesture of solidarity. Across the chamber sat Warlord Krasden. He was huge, even for a Velkarian, his armor black as space and covered in weapons. His face was scarred and cruel. He stared at Marcus with pure hatred. The chief judge, a floating jellyfish-like creature called a qualler, spoke in a voice that echoed through the chamber. We are here to determine the validity of the marriage between Princess Zathari Velkarian and Marcus Chen of Earth. The prosecution may begin. Krasden's lawyer stood. He was a sharp-faced alien with too many teeth. Thank you, honored judges. This case is simple. The so-called marriage is a fraud. Princess Zathari fled her legal obligation to Warlord Krasden and invented this marriage to escape. We have proof, the lawyer continued. The marriage certificate was filed the very night the princess crashed on this station. How convenient. How suspicious. He pulled up images on the screens around the chamber. Furthermore, consider the absurdity of this union. Princess Zathari is royalty, a trained warrior, worth more than this human's entire planet. Marcus Chen is a janitor. He cleans waste disposal units for minimal pay. He lives in poverty with his offspring. The princess would never choose such a mate. Marcus felt every word like a punch. It was true. All of it. He was nobody. A janitor barely keeping his head above water. What right did he have to be here? Emma squeezed his hand. Don't listen, Daddy. You're the best. The lawyer wasn't finished. We demand this fraudulent marriage be annulled immediately. The princess must fulfill her obligation to Warlord Krasden. The defense may respond, the Qualler judge said. Marcus stood up. He had no lawyer, couldn't afford one. He was on his own. Honored judges, he began, his voice shaking slightly. I'm not good with fancy words. I'm just a janitor, like the prosecution said. But that doesn't make me a liar. He looked around the chamber. Hundreds of aliens staring at him, judging him. Yes, the marriage certificate was filed the night Zathari crashed. You want to know why? Because that's when we got married. Human ceremonies can be fast, simple. Two people who choose each other. That's all it takes. Preposterous, Krasden's lawyer shouted. Why would she choose you? I don't know, Marcus said honestly. I've been asking myself that for weeks. I'm nothing special. I work hard. I take care of my daughter. I try to be a good person. Maybe that was enough. The Qualler judge spoke. Princess Zathari, you must testify. Why would you marry this human? Zathari stood, her presence commanding despite everything. I fled Warlord Krasden because he is cruel, brutal. He wants my throne and the military power it holds. Our marriage would lead to war and suffering. That does not answer the question, the judge pressed. Why this human? Zathari was quiet for a long moment. Then she looked at Marcus. When I crashed, I was injured, afraid. I expected the human to run, to hide, to pretend he saw nothing. Instead, he helped me. He risked his safety, his job, his life for a stranger. I told him to act like my spouse to protect me under galactic law. I expected him to refuse or demand payment. Instead, he took me to his home. His daughter gave me her blanket. Marcus bandaged my wounds and asked for nothing. Her voice grew stronger. I have met nobles and warriors across the galaxy. Most think only of power and wealth. Marcus Chen thinks of his daughter, of doing what is right, of helping those who need it. He possesses qualities my own people have forgotten. Pretty words, Krasathen's lawyer sneered. But where is the proof? Where is the love? Where is the connection that makes a marriage real? The judges murmured among themselves. Marcus felt the case slipping away. How could he prove what he felt? He barely understood it himself. Mr. Chen, the Qualler judge said, do you love the princess? The chamber went silent. Everyone waited for his answer. Marcus thought about lying, giving them what they wanted to hear. But Zathari had praised his honesty. He wouldn't dishonor that now. I don't know her well enough to love her. Not yet, he said. Love takes time. At least that's what my wife used to say. What I do know is that I respect Zathari. She's brilliant, strong. She reads bedtime stories to Emma and makes my daughter laugh. She teaches her about the stars and helps with homework. He looked at Zathari. Maybe our marriage started as a desperate plan. But these past weeks, living together, learning about each other, it's become something real. Something I want to protect. You humans and your sentiment, Krasathen's lawyer scoffed. Yeah, we're sentimental, Marcus said, heat entering his voice. We care about each other. We help strangers. We try to do right even when it's hard. Maybe that makes us weak in your eyes. But I'd rather be weak and kind than strong and cruel. The judges conferred quietly. Finally, the Qualler spoke. We find the evidence insufficient to... Enough! Warlord Kraz then stood, his voice like thunder. I will not let some primitive human steal what is mine. I invoke the right of challenge. Trial by combat. The chamber erupted in shocked murmurs. Warlord Kraz, then, the Qualler judge said carefully. Are you certain? Trial by combat is an ancient tradition. It is Velkarian law, Kraz then snarled. The human claims to be her spouse. Let him defend that claim with his life. If he refuses, the marriage is void. If he accepts and loses, the same. Either way, the princess returns to me. Zathari jumped to her feet. No, this is murder. Marcus is not a warrior. You will kill him. Then he should not have claimed you as his mate. Krasathen smiled, showing too many teeth. What say you, human? Do you accept, or do you admit your marriage is a lie? Marcus looked at Emma. Her eyes were wide with fear. He looked at Zathari, who was shaking her head desperately. Then he looked at Krasathen. This brutal warlord who wanted to own Zathari like property. Someone needed to stand up to him. Someone needed to say no. I accept, Marcus said quietly. No! Zathari grabbed his arm. Marcus, please. He will kill you. You do not have to do this. Marcus looked at her. Really looked at her. This brave princess who'd fled across the galaxy to escape a monster, who'd trusted a nobody janitor with her life, who made his daughter smile again. Yeah, he said softly. I do. But why? Tears were forming in Zathari's golden eyes, actual tears. Why would you die for this? Because someone has to stand up to bullies, Marcus said. Might as well be me. Besides, I'm not planning to die. You cannot win, she whispered. Probably not. But I can try. That's what humans do. We try, even when the odds are impossible. The Qualler judge spoke solemnly. Very well. Trial by combat will commence in 3 days. May the worthy prevail. As they left the court chamber, Emma hugged Marcus tightly. You're going to be okay, right, Daddy? Marcus kissed the top of her head, lying for the first time he could remember. Of course, baby girl. Everything's going to be fine. But when he looked over her head at Zathari, he saw the truth in her eyes. Kraz, then, was a trained killer, bred for war, with armor and weapons beyond anything a human could match. Marcus was a janitor with a mop and a desperate wish to protect his family. In 3 days, he would probably die. But at least he'd die trying, and maybe, just maybe, that was enough. Marcus spent the first day preparing, not training like a warrior. He knew he'd never beat Kraz then in a fair fight. Instead, he studied. He watched videos of Velkarian combat. He researched Earth's military history, guerrilla warfare, asymmetric tactics, how the weak defeated the strong when they had no other choice. Zathari tried to teach him proper fighting techniques, but it was hopeless. Your reflexes are too slow, she said, frustrated. Your strength is insufficient. Your reach is too short. Marcus, please, there must be another way. There isn't, he said simply. Not unless you want to marry Kraz then. I would rather die. Then let me try this my way. On the second day, Emma helped him. She drew pictures of the arena based on the descriptions in the news. Marcus studied them carefully, looking for advantages, terrain, exits, anything he could use. Daddy, Emma said quietly, are you scared? Marcus knelt down to her level. Terrified. Then why are you doing it? Because sometimes being scared doesn't matter. Sometimes you have to do the hard thing anyway. He touched her cheek gently. Your mom taught me that. She was scared every time she went out on a call. But she went anyway because people needed help. I miss her, Emma whispered. Me too, baby girl. But I think she'd like Zathari. I think she'd understand why I'm fighting. That night, Marcus couldn't sleep. He sat in the dark, thinking about his life, about all the choices that led him here. Zathari sat down beside him. I am sorry, she said. This is my fault. You should never have been involved. I chose to help you. That's on me. You could have walked away, pretended you saw nothing. You would be safe. Emma would be safe. Marcus shook his head. My wife died helping people. If I'd walked away from you, I'd be spitting on her memory, on everything she taught me about being human. Being human, Zathari repeated. What does that mean to you? Marcus thought about it. It means caring, even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. It means standing up for what's right even when you're scared. It means being kind in a universe that isn't always kind back. Zathari was quiet for a long moment. Your species is remarkable. You are so fragile, your lives so brief, yet you burn so brightly. Yeah, well, we don't have time to waste being cruel. Life's too short. She took his hand. If you survive tomorrow, I want to learn more about being human, about this kindness you all carry. Emma is teaching me. You are teaching me. I want to understand. And if I don't survive, then I will raise Emma as my own daughter, Zathari said fiercely. I will teach her to be strong, to be brave, to honor her father's memory. This I swear on my family's name. Marcus squeezed her hand. Thank you. That means everything. The third day arrived too quickly. The arena was in the center of the Galactic Court, a circular space with walls of transparent metal so everyone could watch. Thousands of aliens filled the stands, cameras broadcast across the galaxy, the human who dared challenge a warlord. Marcus stood at one end of the arena wearing his work coveralls and carrying his janitor's toolbox. He'd refused fancy armor or weapons. They wouldn't help anyway. Kraz then entered from the other side in full battle armor, black and menacing. He carried 2 plasma blades that hummed with deadly energy. He looked like death itself. The crowd laughed when they saw Marcus, a janitor with a toolbox against a warlord. It was absurd, pathetic. Emma and Zathari watched from the viewing area. Emma held Zathari's hand tightly. "He's going to win, right?" Zathari couldn't lie to her. "I do not know, but he will try. Your father never stops trying." The Qualler judge's voice echoed through the arena. "This is trial by combat under ancient Velkarian law. Fight until one yields or falls. Begin." Kraz then moved immediately, charging across the arena with frightening speed. His plasma blades cut the air where Marcus had been standing. But Marcus wasn't there anymore. He'd rolled to the side, using the arena's terrain like he'd planned. "Stand still, human," Kraz then roared. "Not really my strategy," Marcus called back. He pulled something from his toolbox and threw it on the ground. Slippery cleaning fluid spread across the floor. Kraz then's next charge ended with him sliding, his balance disrupted. "Fight with honor," the warlord demanded. "I'm fighting to live," Marcus said. "There's your honor." He threw a flashbang grenade, actually just a repurposed emergency light. The bright flash made Kraz then flinch. Marcus used the moment to spray fire extinguisher foam, filling the air with white clouds. The crowd was silent now. This wasn't the fight they'd expected. The human wasn't playing by the rules. He was using tricks, tactics, every dirty technique he could think of. But Kraz, then, was adapting. He was a seasoned warrior, used to fighting in difficult conditions. He caught Marcus with a backhand that sent the human flying across the arena. Marcus hit the wall hard, feeling ribs crack. "Daddy!" Emma's scream cut through everything. Marcus struggled to his feet, tasting blood. His vision blurred. Kraz then walked toward him slowly, confident now. "You fought well for a primitive," the warlord said. "But this ends now. Yield, and I will make your death quick." Marcus spat blood. "No." "Then you die slowly." Kraz then raised his blade. Marcus had one trick left, one desperate, stupid human trick. He triggered the magnetic grapple from his toolbox, the same tool he used to retrieve dropped items in zero-gravity zones. It shot out, catching Kraz then's blade and yanking it from his hand. The warlord stumbled forward, surprised. Marcus didn't think, didn't plan. He just reacted. Headbutt to Kraz then's face. Kick to the knee joint in the armor, fingers clawing at eyes. Every dirty street-fighting move he'd learned growing up poor in a bad neighborhood. Kraz then was stronger, faster, better trained. But Marcus was desperate. He was protecting his family. That made him dangerous in ways the warlord hadn't expected. They crashed to the ground, wrestling. Marcus got his hands on the electrified cable from his toolkit, the same cable he used for repairs. He wrapped it around Kraz then's neck and triggered the charge. The warlord convulsed, his armor's systems shorting out. Marcus held on, ignoring the pain as electricity burned his hands. He held on until Kraz then stopped moving. Silence filled the arena. Marcus collapsed, barely conscious. He'd won. Somehow, impossibly, he'd won. The medical teams rushed in. They took Kraz then away, alive but defeated. They tended to Marcus's injuries. Emma and Zathari were suddenly there, Emma crying, Zathari's face a mixture of shock and pride. "You did it," Zathari whispered. "You actually did it." "Told you," Marcus managed through split lips. "Humans are too stubborn to quit." The Qualler judge's voice rang out. "Marcus Chen is victorious. The marriage stands. Under galactic law, Princess Zathari and Marcus Chen are recognized as legal spouses." The crowd erupted, not just watching anymore, cheering. Thousands of aliens cheering for a human janitor who'd done the impossible. 6 months passed. Marcus still worked as a janitor. He'd turned down rewards and job offers. He liked his work. It was honest, Simple. It made sense to him. But the station had given him better pay and benefits after his fight went viral across the galaxy. Zathari used her royal connections differently now. She funded education programs for humans, scholarships, cultural exchanges, helping humanity rise in the Galactic Coalition. But she also spent her evenings in a small apartment, teaching Emma about the stars and learning to bake cookies. The marriage that started as a desperate lie had become something real. Marcus and Zathari took things slowly, learning each other, building trust. Some days were hard. They came from different worlds, different cultures, but they were trying. That was enough. One night, they tucked Emma into bed together. Emma yawned and hugged them both. Tell the story again, about how Daddy fought the scary warlord. Your father is the bravest warrior I have ever known, Zathari said. I'm not a warrior, Marcus protested. I'm just a guy who mops floors. Zathari took his hand. You are wrong. You are human. And I have learned that means something far more impressive than any warrior. They stepped out onto their small balcony. Earth hung in the black sky, beautiful and blue. Home. Do you regret it? Marcus asked. Saying you were my spouse that night? Zathari was quiet for a moment. Then she smiled. It was the best decision I have ever made. She kissed him then. Their first real kiss. Not for show, not for the courts. Just two people who'd found each other in the strangest way possible. I love you, Marcus said, surprised to find it was true. I love you too, Zathari replied. My brave, stubborn, impossible human. Behind them, through the window, Emma slept peacefully, a human girl with an alien princess for a mother and a janitor for a father. The galaxy thought that was strange. Impossible. But humans had never let impossible stop them before, and they weren't about to start now.